Greetings and welcome to the Vanguard vlog. As a subscriber, you get a behind-the-scenes look at game development as it happens. Here on the main page for the Vanguard V, you can see various ways to help fund this title, and we hope to get it out real soon. With your contribution, I know we can make it, so thank you. Now I have to apologize in advance because the rest of this video, while it's not nearly as long as the other ones, the audio levels were not set correct, so it sounds a little overdriven. I've reduced the volume a little bit so it doesn't blow out your speakers. However, you will hear some distortion in my voice. I'm still very new to this, and I'll make sure to tweak it next time we do this. Looks like I have to go, so I'll see you guys. So today I'm doing some modifications to Vanguard V. I'm finally back into Unity working on this project. There's been so many distractions. Being an indie developer, it's almost unavoidable. What I mean by that is you have to go to various venues like PAX or work on side projects and try to just keep the lights on and things running while trying not to detract too much focus from what's important. And lately I found myself removed from Vanguard V, and that's something I'm really trying to avoid. But today I had an opportunity to upgrade it to the latest SDK. And I thought while I was in there, I might as well get Mac OS support, and I might as well put in a few things that kind of bothered me in the previous versions. So I already did some of this stuff in the background because previously when I tried to get this stuff working on Mac OS, things were really scrambled. But I've gotten through that, and I'd like to show you some of the things that have changed. So first off, I am going to... I've turned on invulnerability so we can just kind of fly through the level straightforward. And we're going to see some of the new effects that have been put into the level. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And so we got the fading in and the pixelation.
Here we go.
I'm going to turn down the volume just a little bit here.
This might seem logical, but I've learned you're not always driven.
Alright, so we see Q flying through space like we always do. And I don't have head tracking currently because the Oculus is turned off. But this is all running in Mac OS at the moment, and there's no distortion on the left or the right eye, which is a huge improvement to where it used to be. And so we're going to get through this initial rock section here, and then I'll show you some of the differences that are coming in the upcoming demo. Fly under here. Explosion to the left. Big rock reveal number 1. What that does is allow me to spawn and set things up. And here's the second one that reveals the rest of it. And now you'll notice the sky is getting a little more orange, and we're starting to see some sun shafts on all of the parasites and rocks here. And what I've managed to do is get a post-process effect that mimics God rays coming from the sun itself. And it gets a little intense at first as the sun first comes up, and then I dial it back a bit because we certainly don't want to have too much of that going on all the time. But it's kind of a neat effect at the very beginning here. Now, when you're working on a rail shooter, the thing is, everything is kind of made like a giant animation. It's a long cinematic event. And to work on things towards the end can be tedious because here we are sitting through here, and say I've got something to check out at the very end of the level, the very end. I don't want to have to wait the 5 minutes it takes to get there every single time. So I've got a couple of tools that I use to move things along. So here's an example of one. If I were to pause the game, right now the game is paused and you could see some of the process effects, but if I unpause it with this button pressed, I've sped up the game. Because it's a long animation, this is something that works really well. And once I get to the point where I'm done, or where I've reached where I need to do further testing, I unpause it. And in this case, what I'm looking for is when the level is finished, everything goes black, and you can see the silhouette of Q, and somehow at some point that broke, and I want to make sure that the little tweak that I put fixed it. So I'm going to unpause it here.
Warning, large parasite cluster detected.
Brilliant. See, now I can see her silhouette again. Excellent, and that's what I was testing for. So the next thing I gotta do is update the animation because, as you're about to see, it's still talking about the Kickstarter.
Interrupt your whirlwind celebration, but you have an incoming transmission.
From him.
Hey,
Yeah, and so this isn't a Kickstarter anymore, as you're very much aware. So the next thing to do is put in an animation. I am going to save my changes. And I'm going to pause this for just a second because I left my door open and people are moving around. So apparently, recording the video and updating in the scene is going to be a little more complicated than I initially had thought. Somebody helped me get this camera that captures footage in 3D. Previously, on my 3D footage, I used 2 iPhones, and I have since given one to my daughter. So I can't do that anymore, and I have to figure out how to get footage from this into the game. And I'm going to go ahead and do that R&D offline, but I will be releasing this update very soon to Mac OS and Windows people, so I hope you check it out.